Okay, good evening, everyone. We welcome to our June 25th Waynesboro Area School District Board of Directors meeting. Prior to this meeting, we met for an executive session to discuss a personnel matter. This time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome, everyone. Let's start with roll call this evening. Thanks, sir.
Linda Zimmerman,
Here.
Patty Straight here. Wendy Royer here.
Here.
Lloyd Hamburger.
Here.
Tim Miles,
Here.
Rachel Fortney.
Here.
Prince,
Here.
Mark Smith.
Here. Okay, thank you. And now we will move to approval of tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who seconded that?
Well, I think two of us did.
We'll give it to Mrs. Zimmerman.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
She can win.
Right, and now we move to superintendent's report, Dr. Stern.
Thank you. So, Mr. Erickson, if you could start the video, pleased to announce that this came out this past week. I was going to include it in the Friday folder, but I thought I'd preview it here. So it's a celebration of Maury Elementary. Mr. Weatherall is here representing Maury. We did invite Keith McCrae and Jennifer Smith as well, but they were both on vacation. So we appreciate Mr. Weatherall being here. And again, I feel that this is a testimony to the hard work of obviously, Jennifer, Keith, Mr. Weatherall, and then obviously the commitment of our community to back it and to vote. And enjoy.
I am ecstatic to have all this new furniture in the library. I was in awe of the beauty and the versatility of the furniture. I wanted a dynamic learning environment for my kids so that they could be more comfortable. It encourages better thinking, better posture, and it motivates them to want to learn if they can manipulate their environment. 35 years ago, our learning was different. In today's world, you have to have that flexibility of a creative space. I can't wait to see what they make of the space and how they utilize it.
I was very excited to see this for the first time because it's totally different than the library before it was redone, and it's really amazing. The low tables are really great because the younger children can sit down on the ground and have a table that's just right for them. So it's like 4 different classrooms in one, so you have all your 4 different classrooms, but they're just the sections in our big library. I love how it's so movable, so like these blocks, you can build a whole tower out of them, and you can build like a fort. And then the chairs for our tall tables, you can roll them all around the room so you can just sit on them wherever you want. The new chairs makes it so much more fun to read, and I think that'll help a lot of other people also. I love them.
I'm really excited about the furniture that you can manipulate and turn any way you want. They can use it standalone, or we can build it into something else just to make it what they need. I think the library is the heart of the school because they can come here to find anything they're interested in. If I can't find it, I'll get it. Not only do you find your information, then you need to digest it. If there was one space in a school that kids could be free to wiggle and do what they need and get their energy out, it's the library.
Nice.
Tired of typing tons of notes during class. There's finally a
Right, thank you very much, and go ahead.
One
Oh,
more,
go
sorry.
ahead.
The class of 1952 donated a bench, and it is going to be at the senior high school, and we hope to have that out. Well, the bench is has been put together. And so it'll be at the senior high school, hopefully within the next month. So former teacher, wrestling coach, his name is Mr. William Smith.
Mm.
And he has indicated that his class wanted to make a donation and so they are donating a bench and it will have that designation as class of 1952. So thank you to
Right.
that class.
Yes, thanks, class of 1952, and congratulations again to Maori and their upgrading the media center. Noticed in the video, I didn't see one cell phone. They were busy doing other things, which is always better than them holding a cell phone in their hands during that time. And did I miss the card catalog? Do they still have?
I know this is not the time for my comment, but I applaud the librarian at Maori for being proactive, not just putting it on a list that she wanted new furniture for us to approve, but instead she took it upon herself to apply for this. And then, yeah, look what Waynesboro did. You know, we supported her. So anyway, I thank you, Jason, and I thank Maori.
Thank you. All right. No public comment this evening. Okay. And so we move to our approval of the minutes from June 11th meeting. Is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay. Questions, additions or anything? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Will abstain since I was absent for that meeting.
And we will, there is no student board report today. Should be on vacation. Okay. And Alexis is joining them as well. Okay. Board reports. Do we want to, anything from policy committee?
After, you want me to
Policy,
announce?
yeah.
Okay. So we met on June 18th, and there are 3 policies for first reading on the agenda. And we had updated the committee members who were not in attendance, and when we get to that point, we will provide additional clarification if necessary. The policies have to do with graduation, enrollment of students, and then the other one has to do with public records.
Thank you. Academic?
Academic hasn't met since the last board meeting.
Okay.
And that we won't be meeting until September, same with policy.
Okay. And facilities have not met. Budget?
Budget has not met. We'll meet in September, but just as a quick update for the board. We did pass our budget back in May. In theory, the state will pass their budget by Sunday, June 30th. However, they're in, I guess they're negotiating, debating, voting this week on the budget, their budget, and you know, I would say, based on our last numbers, half of our funding comes from what the state says they're gonna give us. So we still don't know what the state is going to do. From what I've been reading, the biggest topic of discussion is public education funding. So which is something that directly affects our district and districts across the state. One of those things where I think it's just a timing challenge of public school districts that you have to pass your budget before the state passes theirs. And you're not fully sure what the state will do or plans to do. So hopefully by our July board meeting, there will be a budget. However, I was also reading, I'm going to summarize because I don't have it right in front of me. It is not unusual for extensions or delays in the budgets to happen when it comes to the state level. There is I'm read that there are votes scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. But we'll just take that as it is. So I'm just going to leave that there regards the budget. So it is, we live in a fascinating time with a fascinating democratic process.
Thank you, sir. Now we move to our first business item, personnel, Dr. DeShawn.
Hey, good evening, everyone. A few items on the agenda this evening for personnel. We're seeking your approval for resignation of professional staff, Ms. Reed. We want to thank her for her service to the mathematics department at WAMS. Michael Griffith, support staff. Appointment to extracurricular for Ms. Aruba, for chess club advisor. There's another young man we're seeking approval for security and support staff, Mr. Derek W. Hine. I think there's a relationship there. We understand if you don't approve that, so. No, I'm only serious, no, that's just kidding. We are seeking approval for Claire Cooper. We're proud to present her to be a science teacher at WAMS. She actually was a student teacher with Mrs. Myers at WAMS, and we think that she'll be a quality candidate for that position. And then we have three leaves we're seeking your approval for also.
So the motion is to approve the personnel as listed.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I know Mr. Smith too, doesn't need approval or anything, but I know Dr. Sternheim, we do want to shout out kudos out to Casey Glunt. He is official now, finished his police academy at Harrisburg Area Community College last Thursday evening. So kudos to him, and so he's already approved and everything,
All right,
but you know,
nice.
just a little shout out to Casey.
All right, congratulations, Casey. Good job. And we move. oh. Okay, second item, settlement of tax assessment appeal. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So this was an appeal from a property owner. It went through the county appeal process, and then they subsequently appealed that to the Franklin Court of Common Pleas. Through that negotiation process then occurred between the county, the school district, and the property owner. They have a revised agreement here on for your discussion and action.
County signed off on this?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
Any additional questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Dr. Holzman's insurance premiums?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Luckily, they're the district's, not mine, because that would be challenging. Nonetheless, so these are the annual property liability insurance policies that we have. We go through a process where we review this with our broker, Strickler Agency. We do go back out and kind of rebid this process about every 2 to 3 years. The biggest challenge we've had is from I guess a property perspective is there are some other companies that offer the insurance, but they have significantly different coverage levels that they just will not meet. So historically, what we've always done is we've traditionally stayed with this one insurance company, but we have one in several years past and kind of go through that process again. Biggest reason for increases, the property coverage has gone up significantly with costs to rebuild. Vehicles have gone up significantly. Obviously, anybody who has home insurance or property insurance and car insurance and such has seen that as well. But the cost of purchasing a vehicle or to have a vehicle replaced and repaired. But those are the biggest things. Probably the one thing that has actually slowed down, which was a little unusual, was the cyber insurance. That's actually flat for a change. So, but I think we've seen that rise significantly over the last probably 4 or 5 years. And now it's kind of flatlined a little bit. So. But this is our proposal to back to you. We have it within our budget. This is just within our budget, but we did have some projections earlier from Strickler that we did put into the budget.
And if I'm reading this correctly, the overall increase is only 8%.
Correct. Right.
Those of you who have received your homeowners insurance, you probably know it's gone up at least 20%. So
The cost to rebuild is it just continues to go up.
So the motion is to approve the 2024-25 insurance premiums as presented.
Move to
So moved.
approve.
second,
Any additional questions for Dr. Holzman?
I have I'm sorry. A question is, we've dealt with Strickler before, correct?
Oh, yes, ma'am, for several years. They've been our broker.
Yeah. And did this go out for bids or do we just deal with them?
This one did not go out for a bid to change the major insurance. And the reason why was because what we found is we had 2 other companies, and I tried to put in here, I did have some notes here. So we have two other companies. I put in the memo here, but I don't know if you want me to say them out loud, but Utica and Liberty, that have at times given us lower quotes by about $5,000 to $7,000 in total. The problem has been, for example, mold fungus, they'll only cover $15,000, whereas CM Region costs or covers $250,000. Though educators' legal liability, they will cover only $50,000 for IEPs. It's $100,000 for CM Regent. Earthquake, which I would say is extremely rare, obviously, but they will only cover $5 to $10 million. We have about $190 million worth of property, whereas CM Regent will cover $100 million. So and again, some of those are big ticket items are probably not going to happen. And there's several other examples in there as well. We will still go back out about every 2 to 3 years. We do go back out and actually check them all again, but usually we've landed right back on CM Regent just because.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
I would note, it's been my experience when you go out, one talks apples, the other talks peaches, the other talks pears. You never get a 100% comparison. They all have something they don't want to cover.
Made the first motion. Wendy?
Any additional questions?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Holson, if my memory serves, the only change in what we've decided to cover from the past, since I've been on the board for the past 3 years, is we did not opt into terrorism insurance, I believe, last year, because that was an additional cost. I believe in terms of just insurance coverages for the past years, we've tried to maintain our current level of insurance. I believe the question came up last year, why did we not opt in for that? And I believe Dr. Holt, when we did this research, was that in the 20+ years, there's been 0 claims underneath that line item. So you think of all the events that have happened across, our districts across the state and across the country, there have been 0 terrorism claims. It just didn't make sense for us to have that additional cost as a part of our coverage.
That's correct. Yeah, we did look into this with the insurance company. It came back and it came down to, you have to have a national recognition of the event, and it kind of goes down along those lines, and that's the reason why we chose it.
So if you think about all the events that have happened in school districts across the past 20 years across the nation, and there's no coverage under that, it didn't make sense for us to pay for that. So the kind of to your question, Mrs. Zimmerman, that's the only change in coverage that I can remember over the past several years.
Thank you.
And this is a comprehensive policy. Directors and operations plus casualty, liability, et cetera, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct. Yeah. And the only one on here that we don't pay as a district, so to speak, is the voluntary student accident insurance. So that's offered to families every year. Very few families ever take advantage of that, but it is offered. That is part of a package that parents can pay. It's $22.50 to cover it during the school day, and it's $90 to cover that 24 hours a day. So choose. So again, if a student were to be hurt on a playground, for example, and it was not due to a district issue, just, unfortunate incident. If the parents have that coverage, they could potentially have that event covered as well to help them out versus their own insurance.
Questions? Okay, vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Next, we move to the maintenance agreement with MTS for 2024-25 school year.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So this is just a continuation of the existing agreement we have. This will be the 3rd year that we've used this company. And believe it or not, the pricing has actually stayed the same. This would be year 3. So it's one of the few surprising items that have actually stayed the same. But our food service department and maintenance department, who do kind of work in tandem with this vendor, have been very satisfied with their services.
So the motion is to approve the maintenance agreement with MTS.
Move to approve.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
And next, move to the first reading of policy 200, 217, and 801.
Dr. Royer asked me if I could just go ahead and take care of this and cover it. So the first policy is 801 public records. So essentially what we're looking at is the primary difference is that giving the board the authority to essentially deny requests if it's not identified as a legitimate person. Unfortunately, we receive right to know requests on a regular basis from anonymous individuals or an email or an acronym. So that would give us a little more of a more detailed process by which we have to abide by. The other policy has to do with graduation and in terms of awarding the diplomas as well as children of active military families. More importantly, it's probably the ARs that came along with it that will help define the process better. And then also we have the enrollment of students. Again, not a lot of changes there, just referencing students with experiencing educational instability as well as children of active military families. And so these are all recommendations from PSBA. And then there's also ARs that will go along with it. I did place the ARs in the Friday folder for your review as well. So this is first reading.
First read, and this is just a discussion item. Are there any questions? comments?
I assume the solicitor is happy with the right to, changes to the right to know.
That, I assume you're operating off the PSBA, PNN recommended version. Oh,
Carl Beard, you have to introduce.
Is it on? Is it
It's
green?
on.
All right, well, Carl Beard anyway, solicitor. If it was the PSBA PNN version, I'm satisfied with that. And I would say anytime you have an opportunity to get the ARs, it's an excellent investment because there's about 240 PSBA policies and about 170 ARs. And it says the superintendent will promulgate policies and procedures. Superintendent doesn't have time to do that, and it's an excellent purchase. And as you're probably aware, you are inundated with a lot of anonymous, and we've had FOIA Buddy, and we've had all these. Even the Office of Open Records come out and said it's legitimate. They checked it out. But it's good to have it because you don't want to spend staff time tracking down things for entities that really don't exist.
Any additional questions, comments? Thank you. Let's move to our financial business treasurer's report, May 2024, and let's go also to purchase orders and bills for payment.
yes, sir. Thank you. So we have the treasurer's report for you as well as, of course, the requisitions, which again, we're continuing to have them come in from the building levels and department levels at this time of year. And then we have the normal board and the cafeteria bills payable.
Right, so the motion is to approve the treasurer's report as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Next, any Clayton cabinet comments tonight?
I have a quick one for you. Good news, which is always nice to present. Ms. Miles had talked about the class of 1974 a couple board meetings ago, doing a fundraiser for cafeteria debt. So far, and I think there's still more coming in, but they have raised $8,810. So we've actually deposited already to pay off student debt for this school year. So we sincerely appreciate that. Going down the list, just
Great.
so many people and businesses in the area that are all tied into the class of 1974, churches, things of that nature. Again, all
Yeah.
represented very well. A couple dozen donors, I think, altogether made up that $8,800, but it's been wonderful.
Crazy.
So-
Wow.
Very nice. Any other?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to all of our folks that are doing summer school every day here, and we appreciate them and what they're doing. Also, our summer library has got kicked off here too, and it's pretty neat. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to see I don't know if you ever walked into one of them vans or trucks, and it's actually kind of pretty cool.
Bookmobile?
Yeah,
Is
the
that-
book.
yeah.
Yeah,
A friend of mine drives that. At
Yes,
least one of
yeah.
them.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So we appreciate our librarians and our reading specialists for helping to get that all together, and also, you know, our folks that are involved in all the summer learning that's going on over the summer here. Since school's been out, numerous sessions have been ongoing and will continue to do so up through beginning of August here. Met with some elementary teachers today to talk stills, science, and looking at resources. And July 9th, we have a big stills day also. So just a kudos to all the folks that are involved in participating in the summer learning that's being offered by our district. So
Thank you. All right, any comments from the board?
I have a question. How goes the free lunches at Summit View and Fairview? Are they being utilized, or are there many people
They-
showing up to eat?
The summer school program certainly does help, and the
Okay.
YMCA at Summit View does help as well, because they participate over there Monday through Thursday as well.
Okay.
So, but I can bring some numbers back to you.
Yeah,
and
just
put
be
some
interesting to
information in
see
front
how
of you.
many meals we're serving.
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. Yep.
Just a quick comment. I had the false impression before I joined the board that when school was not in session, nothing happened in the district. That was an awakening call. So just a big thank you to, as Dr. DeShawn just listed out, all the things that are currently happening in the district. And then there's things that were not mentioned, like all the facilities, things that are happening, particularly our big summer project was the middle school. And
Starts Thursday.
Yep, and so that's gonna start Thursday and various other projects. And so just because school is not in formal session, there is still a lot happening in our district with a lot of hard work going into it. So just a big thank you to those that are showing up still daily to make sure things run smoothly and prepare for the next school year. So we are, one school year ends, that just means you get started ready for the next one. So a big thank you to all of our teachers and staff and admin and support staff that are helping everything run smoothly so that when opening day happens in a month and a half, 2 months, maybe, things will run smoothly. So a big thank you to that.
You might have a state budget.
All right, any other comments? All right, thank you, everyone. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So,
Second.
All in favor?
don't be late for sleeping.